Hi, Ken Park here. Here we are in the Comedic Roundtable. I believe it's episode 4. We have some great human being, great people. I'm very proud to play with them tonight. We have Chip out of America. We have Jean Marie out of America, but based in Germany. We have Christoph out of no, joking, he's in Luxembourg, and he's from the Netherlands. And
Ooh.
we also
Not
have
even close.
yeah, I know it's the north of Belgium, but it's still Netherlands, my man. I'm Flanders is still an occupied part of Belgium. It's and we have James, which is also from Americas, and we have Lizzie. Cool. So a nice duo. We hope they're both gonna play both talented people, and we have me, myself, and I from Luxembourg. So Luxembourg is
Yay.
a very small country, if you don't know. And actually, I have a fun story about that. I'll start by that, and then I'll introduce the first comedian. You know, today is kind of a weird comedy roundtable because last week we all agree on doing joke on Luxembourg, on this small, tiny country that I'm from. And it's going to be interesting, first of all, that most of the American comic are going to discover that, well, there are other country on Earth, and and they are going to discover a country that is probably smaller than their hometown. Well, I have to say that the first difference is that we are not that patriotic here in Luxembourg, because America has a lot of cliche, and one that is true because I've witnessed it by myself, is that if someone in a party is from America and he meets another American, they automatically scream USA, USA, and then everybody will follow along. That's not something you do in Luxembourg. That's not something I do when I go to a party. I don't enter a party and say Luxembourg, Luxembourg, because I don't want to ruin my night having to explain to all the guy in the party what and where Luxembourg is. You know,
It's not
the
necessary.
weird thing in Luxembourg is probably that we are one of the only country on earth where we don't just start by hello. We start by figuring out which language the other guy talk. So we just literally shove every single way of greeting someone in all the language we know, hoping that it's gonna catch the fish. It's literally like saying "Salut, bonjour, moyen, hello, hi." It's like if in the U.S. you'd meet someone and the first thing you'd say is "Hi, good morning, what up, hey ya." It's exactly how it would be. And no wonder we have a few issues of mental health around this country. So, I think the first comedian that I'm going to introduce is the wisest man we have in the comedian, let's say, variety of tonight. It's Chip out of the US. Chip, what do you got for tonight?
Oh, hello. Hey. Well, wise, I don't know about that since I blew the assignment. I didn't realize that we were focusing on Luxembourg as opposed to focusing on Ken. So
It was
most
both.
of
It
my
was
stuff
both.
is Ken with a little Luxembourg instead of Luxembourg with a little Ken. So
It's gonna be great.
I think
Yeah.
uh, I think you can tell from Ken's beginning of his hosting. Ken is probably the gayest heterosexual you'll ever meet. So, but there's a motto. One of the mottos of Luxembourg is "We want to stay what we are." So Ken is right in line with that. Um, I understand that most Luxembourg children learn 4 languages. They learn Luxembourgish, English, French, and German. Ken, of course, took it one step further, and he studied Klingon as well. So he is he is
Indeed.
he is what they call someone who excels. The other Luxembourg motto is "Where history meets future," which in Ken's lexicon means that he only dates older chicks. So that's how he interprets that. um, but he'll be the first to tell you that he doesn't score that well with women, and I think one of the reasons is because he's always referring to pussies as the Grund. So I think that's a little that's a little inappropriate. For our foreign listeners, if you don't know what the Grund is, in Luxembourg, the city is divided by this huge cavernous gorge. So you know where that joke was going. Um, Luxembourg also has one of its great wonders called the Casement Tunnels. It's 17 kilometers of passageways under the city. Ken says that he loves them mainly because there's plenty of places to pee. So it's a, it's his own little Lexan leaks, which if you don't know about that, that was the Julian Assange release of many of the Luxembourg secrets in the financial industry. Um, Luxembourg is interesting in the fact that 50% of the population are actually foreign born. They're from another country. And their workforce is 70% uh, foreign people. 50% of those actually commute to Luxembourg to work, since it's so close to France, Belgium, and Germany. Which, interesting enough, 50 to 70% of Ken's hookers are foreign as well. So he's right in line with the country. Um, I think that one of the one of the problems that Ken uh, has with women in Luxembourg is that there's so many dicks everywhere. There's Rue Dix, there's Rue Dix Betonrege, Rue Dix Strassen, and Rue Dix Estrasse Alitz. Apparently, they're dicks that run for miles and are very wide. So the competition is just a little bit too tough for Ken. The upside, ladies, is that Luxembourg is one of the wealthiest countries in the world. In fact, Luxembourg City is the third richest city on the globe. So, any of you ladies that are looking for avocado toast in Europe, Ken can bankroll you. Ken can definitely bankroll you. Luxembourg actually made its money in the steel and iron industry. Um, they made so much money that there are no taxes in Luxembourg. Um, Another one of those bad comparisons because steel and iron is definitely not how many women compare Ken's manhood. The most I've heard, him compared to is a thing that they call Riesling Spaschen, which is I think it's a slightly crispy dough, spongy crispy dough with meat inside. So if you're looking for something that's easy to take, I would say Ken is your man, ladies. But honestly, though, Ken, I love you, man. Just meeting you online for the short time I've met you, I want to say what a great guy you are. All right. So
Thank you so much.
I'm gonna let it go at that.
Thank you so
That was
much.
awesome.
That was so good. That was so good. Even if you roasted me worse than a chicken and on on Thanksgiving, but thanks. Really appreciate it. What I love in this case is that I learned so much things about the place I live that I didn't know. I didn't know at all. Actually, I had no idea. But it's true that I am the gayest heterosexual man alive. Actually, a lot of gay people have to do a coming out when they tell that to their family. I had to do a coming in to prove that I'm actually heterosexual. You know, it's kind of crazy. But it's fair to joke on us. It's I understand that. However, so as you're all going to do jokes on Luxembourg, hopefully not all jokes on me. I I did a few jokes on America because well it was easier. I'm not gonna lie, and I find it's kind of crazy country because you have everything that we look up to. You have Hollywood, you created the iPhone, you have Boeing, and then I just think about it, and I'm like, yeah, but life's pretty fair because it compensates well, because you also have Detroit, you also have Comcast, and you have United Airlines, so it's fine. Well, and it's not over in the craziness because it's a country where you can have a rifle gun at 12, but importing a Kinder Surprise is considered a death trap. It's kind of a crazy place. And I have other jokes, but I want to hear the next comedian. So the way I'm going to do is simple. I have so Chip Jean Marie J, which I don't know who he is. Then I have Christoph, and I have James. It's the way the little facer are in my app. So I'm just going to follow that line because being creative is so tiring. So
So you mean
so
the black guy was in the front? I love that. This is a
exactly.
beautiful app. This is a beautiful app.
Exactly. I'm not racist at all. I have no problem with black, Chinese, blue, yellow. I don't hate you on your race. I just hate you because you breathe. Wherever you come from.
Who's yellow?
So, yeah. Going on the yellow side, Jean Marie. That's the girl from the
Yay!
Philippines.
Yay.
Uh,
All right, so I kind of did it different. I did what I thought Kent would joke about last week, and I thought he would joke about, being actually good at skating and different things like that, and then and then his heterosexualness. That's what I thought his jokes would have got.
Yeah, it
But
was he.
like like Kent and his whole identity crisis, Luxembourg has some cool history, right? They have a lot of identity issues because I mean they're an old fucking country. It's crazy. But Chip says that they gained their wealth through iron and steel. That was written in the history books, but they pretty much just became a huge financial powerhouse off the transatlantic slave trade. But I mean, that was on the Netherlands, really, because they were like, okay, we know we got paid for selling humans, but we don't want to look like we made money off of selling people. So what's that country we've got in our possession? Luxembourg. Just throw it in those banks over there. So what's actually in Luxembourg's history books, though, is this thing. It's called the Luxembourg crisis, which is a little like Luxembourg is a little bit confusing because when they said crisis, it was a little disagreement between empires and resolved by talking. So there it was, 1867, this diplomatic dispute and confrontation with the French Empire and the Prussians over Luxembourg politics. So due to that, the Prussians and the Austrians fought each other. No, because then France was like, oh, we're just going to stay neutral in this fight, even though it was their fight. But the French thought, oh, Austria's got this shit, so we're going to get everything we want. Well, that's not what actually happened. Prussia was like, nope, we got this shit. So they had to force Austria to the negotiation tables after less than a week. And then Napoleon was like, well, hey, thanks for fucking losing the war, but I'll try to stay neutral, and then I want to mediate this thing so I can get all the shit I wanted that I thought I'd get when you won the war, Austria. But then Bismarck, this guy, went to King Williams and said, hey, dude, I know you're in the Netherlands, and I'll give you 5 million guilders. Not sure what that is. I'm guessing that's the old euro for Luxembourg. William was like, yeah, let's do this shit. We need the money. But then the German people, they were like, no, fuck you, Bismarck. We don't want Napoleon to have us. So again, very confusing history. And so anyway, so all these countries were like, oh shit, the Germans are gonna start a war. They were like foreseeing World War One and World War Two. And obviously these people were brighter because they're like, we don't want a world war. So they all talked. And then but then they're like, hey, Belgium, take Luxembourg. And they give their land to France. And then King Leopold is like, fuck you, Count Eustace of Austria. It's your fault we lost this war anyway. We're not paying shit for your losses. And then the UK came in and said, or actually Russia came in. Somehow Russia came into this whole confusing situation of history and said, we need to solve this peacefully because of how peaceful they are for some reason in this explanation. So Leopold was like, I don't want to be an expansionist. But Alexander said, let's go to the UK and talk this out. And Belgium said, we don't want to be weak. It was crazy. Luxembourg stayed neutral somehow because Belgium didn't want to be weak in this crisis. But yeah, that's Luxembourg's crisis that happened that didn't happen. It's very confusing. Kent, why is that in your history books as a crisis?
I don't really know. I know it's very confusing. You have to know that back in the days we had mountains, valley in Luxembourg. Now it's just a fucking flat country. With so many people stepped on us. Like, just so
I
many
know. Oh
people.
yeah, and then in World War One and World War Two, Germany was like, "Fuck you, Luxembourg. You're just in our way," and took you guys over.
Exactly. Like we tried. We literally we tried. Like they were at the border. We said nine. They said yes, and they just came in.
At least the Luxembourg still fought for one day, unlike the French who just went, oh, please, take our baguettes, take our women. There is the Eiffel Tower. Keep driving 3 weeks, you'll reach Paris.
Wait. There was only half of France. There was half of France that fought.
I don't. Well, in this crisis, France was like, "We're neutral, but we want everything." It was weird.
I was just gonna say, for the financial people that are watching from home, a guilder is worth about 56 cents to the dollar. So
yeah,
what is a guilder? I've never
it's the old Dutch
it's
currency.
the old Dutch currency.
Oh, okay.
It's
So
pronounced
they don't
gulden.
use it anymore. Okay.
Yeah.
I was like,
Wow.
okay, a guilder.
That's pretty crazy that you all know that, because back in the days, like 20 years ago, we had the franc, and I still don't know how to convert franc. But somehow you can convert money that has 200 years old.
Well, Gilder, you know, if you play Dungeons and Dragons, if you're a D&D player, you know.
Oh, this explains a lot.
Any of those nerd cosplay, you know, Gilder is still a currency that's in use. So
yeah, I think it's worth 2 doubloons.
that's right.
Okay. So it's good to know that if you're a D&D player, it's like just a bunch of all the Netherlands community. It's cool.
Right.
Cool,
You know,
cool to know.
basically it's the currency of young men who've never touched a boob is what it is. So.
Oh, surprising you didn't relate that joke to me.
Well, have you touched a boob, Ken?
Might have happened. I don't know.
He's like, I don't know what that was under that shirt. She
That's
kept
right.
her clothes on.
I guess you could call a chicken breast a boob, couldn't you? I mean, you could.
Not even that. I'm fucking vegetarian. I don't even enter that category. I've touched a soy boob. If you want.
Yeah, I was gonna say I don't think squash have boobs. I don't think.
Oh.
Oh shit.
Oh my god. If squash hasn't, maybe a butternut has. I don't know.
Butternut sounds like it's more masculine than.
Come on, yeah, but it's hard to find. It's hard to find a vegetable that looks like a woman. I don't know, like just. I can't find any.
No, the butter.
I mean, my neighbor looked like a
butt.
pumpkin, but.
Yeah, I was gonna say. I think many of the gourd fruit, when you cut them in half, that's when you
Yeah, that's probably
I
right.
don't cut my woman in half, so I don't really know what you're talking about.
I mean,
On this
okay.
wonderful transition, Christoph, what do you got?
Yeah, I just have a little story about Luxembourg, something I experienced once. By the way, Prime Minister in Luxembourg, I've met him 3 times. He said hi to me
Oh,
3 times. How often have you bumped into your president? It's cool having a
I
small
mean, if
country.
you're at a gay club, I mean, I guess.
Exactly, you keep bumping into him. Hey, man, hey, what's up? I go to your place. I'm not your type. Oh, well.
yeah.
And you repeat
But
every time he has a drink. I do it
I've
again.
I've bumped into Trump twice, but unfortunately, I didn't have a gun either time. So.
Yeah. Once I was in Luxembourg and friends of mine came over and they wanted to do like a guided tour. I didn't want to do that because they're pretty boring. It's Luxembourg. But so I was going to meet up with them at the end of the tour. So I joined their tour and the guy, I can hear him say, it's all about Luxembourg. Yeah. We have 170 nationalities living here. We have open gay prime minister. We're very cosmopolitan, very pro LGBTQ. And he was all praising Luxembourg. And then he points at the biggest bridge in Luxembourg. It pretty much combines the two parts in Luxembourg. It's this massive bridge. It's been there for a while. And he goes, this is the Adolf Bridge. And everyone just shuts up. Half the people in the audience, half the people were American, the other half were Japanese. So all the Japanese go, click, 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 click. I can hear 120 clicks per second of making pictures of the bridge. And the Americans are like, Adolf Bridge? What? They're not very PC over here. They're allowed to do that? And the guy goes, no, I mean, it's the Adolf Bridge. It's not named after him. It's named after the Grand Duke Adolf Guillaume Charles Auguste Frederick de Nassau. And they're like, so that long name, and you guys went with Adolf Bridge? Yeah, but it's one of our Grand Dukes. He banished a lot. And then nobody cares about this Duke. If you hear Adolf Bridge, there's only one Adolf in history, let's be honest. He ruined it for everyone. There's 2 names that you haven't heard since that day. He ruined it. No one's used those names anymore. So obviously the Americans are like, why don't they change the name, man? Call it Liberty Bridge, Freedom Bridge. And they're like, no, it's the Adolf Bridge. We're very proud of our Grand Duke. And so the Americans were really quite annoyed. And I was kind of funny because I always thought it was funny because I thought the exact same thing when I heard Adolf Bridge. Like, come on, are you kidding me? I thought it was after the famous Austrian. Then they told me it's not after him, but still. Anyway, so for me, the name Adolf was ruined. And that bridge, every time I walk over that bridge, I'm like, yeah, walking on the Nazis.
You spit on it?
Yeah.
I do. I spit on it many times. Actually,
It's maybe why we now have an avenue called JFK, just to compensate.
It's true.
So something I want to. You said you met the prime minister twice, right?
Yeah.
So there's this other thing I read, which is interesting, that the deputy prime minister is actually the prime minister of Belgium as well. Is that true?
No, I don't believe so.
Think so? No.
No. Our politics are very different. One of the big reasons is that we have a government and Belgium doesn't, for example.
Exactly.
What?
Yeah.
Okay, I go back and look because it said that the deputy prime minister of Luxembourg was actually the prime minister of Belgium. I was like, that's really weird because they were saying how Belgium shares its government with Luxembourg, or Luxembourg shares its government with Belgium.
No, I think what you read is that there is a part of Belgium which is called it would be called State of Luxembourg.
Yeah,
but it's in Belgium.
Yeah, exactly. There's a Luxembourg
So
in
that's
Belgium,
possible.
and it's really confusing when I'm in Belgium. I say I live in Luxembourg. They're like, okay, no. The country, obviously, not the province.
Okay, maybe that's what it is.
Whenever you buy a train ticket, you have to be very precise, or you're ending up in the wrong part of Belgium, and you're going to be very disappointed.
Yeah, but usually when you show the Mastercards, they know from which part you are.
Yeah,
they have no doubt. Oh, but that's some crazy story about Luxembourg. We have one more person to go, but I want to do a few more jokes about the lovely America. What I find crazy, for example, is that you can't have foie gras in the US. That's bad. That's illegal because it's too cruel for the animal. But if a human undergo the same process of creating foie gras, then he's just a normal McDonald's customer. Which I don't get. And the thing is, I realized that there's 50 states in the U.S., but America doesn't have the same amount of respect for every state. When they had to build a prison for the worst criminal, for terrorist, they still preferred to choose a communist island than Alaska, because Alaska was way too harsh. James, what do you got about my country?
What?
Oh, it's my turn. Okay, so I'm camping. I have an excuse, okay? I have limited internet. I haven't done any research on Luxembourg at all. I completely failed this assignment. I just came in here for the history lesson. You guys clearly did some thorough research. I think Lindsay has Luxembourg pulled up on Wikipedia back here. She's jotting down notes, so her set might be better. I wrote down Luxembourgers because we talked about that last week. That wasn't my joke. I am really disappointed that there isn't a burger chain in Luxembourg called Luxembourgers.
There is.
I think you guys are missing a great opportunity there.
There is one.
There's one called Luxemburger?
It's called Luxburgers.
Yes,
Luxembourg burgers.
So I wrote one joke, and it's only good today because it's about yesterday. Did you know that yesterday, June 5th, was actual National Veggie Burger Day?
No.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it's very topical. It was also National Gingerbread Day, National Moonshine Day, and because it was the first full moon in June, it was also World Environment Day.
Wow.
That affects all of us, right? What'd you guys do to celebrate? I'll tell you what. I did. I went out and got a veggie burger. I washed it down with some moonshine. I had some gingerbread for dessert. I'm just kidding. I didn't do any of that stuff. I boarded up my windows and cleaned my rifle. That's the only joke I got.
So basically, what you're saying is,
do you have something you want to share?
No.
Okay, I'm gonna make Lindsay talk to you guys now. Is that cool?
okay, that's cool.
Yeah.
You're gonna
Or
make
actually,
her
hey,
talk.
can you introduce her?
Lynn,
Yeah, sure. It's cool to know that the 5th of June is National Eco-Friendly bullshit. It's nice. It's nice to know.
Well, it's nice to know that there are at least 4 things that are so shitty they can't have a day of their own. They've got to
Exactly.
share it. It's like,
They have to share.
yeah.
Which is
Now,
such a shame for gingerbread.
did they share the whole day collectively, or did they each get a certain amount of 6 hours each?
That's a good question. I just hope that the moonshine was the last 6 hours, because if it was the start, it must have been such a weird day.
Weird day. You know what I was thinking? Your joke about pate. You've got another one that you could put in there. How Americans also don't eat veal because we don't do it because it's terrible to put those little children cows into cages. But if they're from Latin America, those kids will put in cages. That's not a problem.
Oh God. Lindsay, any reaction on veal meat?
Oh, that's the one meat I don't support.
Oh, because they
Well,
put those
maybe
little baby
something on
pigs-
veggie burger then.
Yeah, exactly, veggie burger. Yeah, I am full on Future Farmers of America to the point that I literally still own my member jacket. However, I do not support the baby cows being stuck in their pens.
Well, how are you on Latin American kids stuck in a pen though?
Oh no, not that.
So you support them being killed when they aged whole their life in a cage, but not killing them before they suffer. Good to know.
The
Great
only people that belong in cages are my submissive slaves.
No.
It's why you can't be okay. The tent is the cage. All right, we got the message.
Wow. Okay. Yeah. I'm up for real.
You're up.
I got nothing.
Sorry.
I don't know how many times I've tried to tell you people I am not a comedian. I am just a bitch, and apparently I'm also an illiterate bitch. I've never been diagnosed, but I would bet money that, like Miss J. Marie, I am probably dyslexic. Also American, so maybe a little literate. Looking up your guys' history, I see that you guys are a bunch of mutts. You guys have been owned by the Romans, the French, the Celts, and what I would assume is something Dutch, but I read as grand douchey. Apparently you guys are really douchey.
Nice.
Yeah, so you got Luxembourg was part of the League of Nations, which surprisingly the US refused to join, which surprised me, seeing how with the vast amount of nerds in the United States, that we refused to jump on the opportunity to be part of the Justice League. Yeah. Yeah, no, you apparently think the US is awesome. We think the US is awesome. Apparently you guys do too, because during some of the world wars, your royal family apparently fled to the US. It took the US Army to finally end all the fighting there. Yeah, I'm a typical douchey American. Apparently we're all douchey, and I think that we save everyone.
That's the only thing we're good at. Is coming
Yeah.
in and saving you guys.
Hey.
That's all I got.
So
Yeah.
Lindsay, yeah, Lindsay,
Yes.
I think I speak for everyone here. The fact that you sleep with James makes us think that you must have a great sense of humor. So that's why we're always asking you to do comedy. I think that's basically what am I speaking for everyone? Am I speaking?
Exactly.
No.
Yeah, totally. That's the thing, you know. Lindsay keeps saying, "No, I'm not a comedian. I'm not funny." Lindsay is super funny. She always like has the right word at the right moment.
Right.
So we are here to support your future career.
I appreciate that.
She's like that girl. Every guy's had that one girl like, well, I've never done this before. It's like, really?
Yeah.
That's not what your tattoo says.
Hey, that one's in places people can't see. Most people. On that note, I have to go do the mom thing and make the kids food.
No.
Thanks, guys.
Okay.
Thank
Kids.
you.
Bye-bye.
Yay.
Knew
Come
They
on.
were
Bye-bye.
supposed to be fishing for their food.
Okay, so I think that was a great comedic roundtable. I like to keep that organization. Everybody did their set. I loved every single bit. It's really cool because it was part of history lesson, part of fun jokes, and part of sad truth. So that was really cool. It was really cool. So we are doing this every single Saturday, 8 p.m. And because we are comedian, it's probably 15 past 8 p.m. Then we start. But that's the way we go. We like this. We are often the same comedian. I think we found a nice group, a nice tight group where we get along pretty well. We can do jokes. We can insult each others, and everything is fine. I'm not frustrated at all, Chip. No, it's super cool. I love every single comedian that is here tonight. It's such a pleasure to be able to do this while we are living in this weird time. So big round of applause in front of your computer. Don't slap your phone if you're watching this on your phone, like me. Otherwise, it's gonna be a bit weird. And I hope to see all of you on next Saturday. Bye bye. Cool. It was really fun, actually.
That was fun. Hold on. Make sure I can stop.